Hello and welcome to the Steelers 2021 preview. So exciting. Football is just on the horizon. We're so excited. It's one of the best times of year as the temperatures start to cool down. Labor Day is just around the corner. It means football is coming. So excited about this upcoming season. A lot of people believe it's Ben's final season. I guess we'll wait and see about that. But we're going to talk about a lot of things here today, but we are going to be previewing the 2021 season, and I'm very excited about that. There's a lot of, it's kind of a mixed bag for me this year. The Steelers have a lot of, there's a lot of possibilities this year. Some are trending up, some are trending down, but we're going to talk about a lot of that today. Let's get right into it. This is the first year of the 17-game schedule, so it's impossible to have a 500 record now. And the Steelers have kind of, some of Mike Tomlin's years have finished 8-8 to kind of keep his time without a losing record positively. But you can't do that now, so that's going to be interesting going forward. You look at a lot of the positions across this team and compare it to maybe last year to see if they've improved, or maybe they're on the decline, or maybe they're kind of in the same area. Offensively, let's start there. As our friends Tunchilkin and Craig Wolfley would say, everything starts up front with the offensive line. The offensive line, I think has a chance to be better than it was last year, but it's a big question mark. I think the biggest reason, obviously, because we lost two Pro Bowl caliber players, at least two players that have been to the Pro Bowl before, David DeCastro and Marquise Pouncey. However, they didn't have the best years last year. It's a young offensive line, and with a lot of the things that have been going on in this offseason, I don't know that they've had a whole lot of chance to gel. So we'll see how this offensive line does. I think for me, it's about the mindset of the team. If they really are going to get to a running the ball a little bit better, or if they're just going to, split out 5 wide receivers every play. I think that's going to make a difference with this offensive line. It's really going to be about the mindset and playing to their strengths. So we'll see. I think right now it's probably too early to call when it comes to this offensive line, but that'll be interesting to watch as the season develops. Going to the wide receiver position, I think that personnel pretty much has stayed the same. I don't know that they can be, with the drop issue that we had last season, and we'll talk more about that as we get to the tight ends. I think Johnson has a chance to really rectify that and really ascend into his full potential this year. And I said that last year too, and then he had the drop issue last year. It'll be interesting. I think this wide receiver core can really benefit from a consistent running game. And we've not seen that in the last few years, and some of that has been personnel, and some of that has been, quite honestly, it's been the direction of the team, and it's been the mindset. So I think if they get back to establishing the run and wanting to run the ball, I think these receivers can really excel this year, and I think that's going to be a big deal, and that kind of takes us to tight ends. I think that they don't have any other choice but to be better this year. Freiermuth is going to be a stud in this league, and I think you take that into the whole thing with Juju. That's kind of being a contract year for him. Johnson really wanting to show that he's kind of rectified this drop problem. Chase Claypool in year 2, hopefully continuing to ascend. And then you have Freiermuth, who's really, a lot of people rated him as one of the best hands guys in the league, or coming into in this past draft anyway. And I think that will obviously help their drop issue, but I think also Freiermuth, as we saw in the preseason game against the Detroit Lions, he's going to be a big red zone target for Ben, and that's really been an issue these last couple of years is once they get in that red zone is getting inside. So I think that's going to be good. I think the Steelers have a chance to be, if you combine the receivers and the tight ends together as far as pass catching ability, I think they have a chance to be better. But we'll see. Obviously, the running back situation I think is obviously going to be an upgrade with Najee Harris coming in. I've liked what I've seen out of him in the preseason. I think he has shown that he can make a lot out of a little. And with the young offensive line, I think that's really what you need. And honestly, he's also a great option to come out of the backfield. Ben will love that. So, I think the running back position is as good as it's been for a while. But we'll see. I'm not real sure about the depth of the team once you get past Najee Harris, and I think the team is still trying to figure that part out. Who's going to be the second and third option? But I think they have a better chance of being better than they have been the last few years. Quarterback position, man. A lot of times that's who leads the team, and Ben is the guy for yet again. And with Ben, whether it was arm strength, whether it was recovering from his elbow surgery, whether it was a confidence thing, we don't know why he wasn't hitting some of those deep balls last year. But again, getting that run game going is going to open that deep ball downfield, and it's going to help you with the matchups. Ben looked good against the Lions. Again, that was preseason. But I think, if he really is serious about going out on a high note, and I think he is serious about that, I think they have a chance to be really good. Defensively, there's a lot of question marks on defense, especially, if we start up front with the defensive line. Cam Hayward has been the leader of this team for a long time. And I'm not saying that he has shown any signs of dropping off, but he's also not getting any younger. Tuitt is a big question mark, with the unfortunate events that happened with him this offseason and him not practicing at all in the preseason. He's going to be a question mark going into the regular season. And a lot of times the defense has been truly at the highest points have been great because of Tuitt's quality play. And when he's been out, which unfortunately in his career, he's spent a lot of times on the sideline due to injuries. The defense, getting to the quarterback is key in a 3-4 defense. And if the defensive line isn't plugging those holes up front for the linebackers to get through, it's going to be a long day. And Tuitt has been part of that for the last several years. And when he's up and he's going and he and Hayward are plugging those holes, I mean, we're one of the best defenses in the league. When they're not doing that, we've shown that we can give up a lot of yards. So we'll see about that. Outside linebackers, we lost Bud Dupree this offseason, but Highsmith has looked really good in the preseason. T.J. Watt, another question mark as of now. He's not signed. I have no doubt that he'll be on the field. We'll see. At inside linebackers, Devin Bush returning and the acquisition of Joe Schobert, I think we have a chance to be as good in the middle of our linebacking core we have in a very, very long time. Maybe uh, since Ferrier was in there um, back in the 2005 Super Bowl team. Um, so that's going to be fun to watch that group. Secondary. If you start out with the safeties, Fitzpatrick is an elite safety. Terrell Edmonds, even though I don't believe he's played up to his first round draft slot, he's been solid this last year or two. And if he keeps on that upward trajectory, then I like what we see from those two. Although I'm very concerned about if one of those players were to get hurt, where that would leave the team. I think that would be one of the biggest drop down points when it comes to injuries. Corners. That's it. Always seems like corners is an issue, and so I don't. That's one of the that's always a concern for me, and so I think we've got some young players in there, and we've got some older players in there. It's a mix of both. And honestly, when it comes to the defense, it's all about pressuring the quarterback. If we don't get pressure on the quarterback, it's going to be a long day for those corners. And we've seen that over the years, and I don't think that's going to be any different this year. Special teams. Presley Harvin. Man, what a pickup that was, right? I think special teams is, I think Danny Smith can get a lazy boy and just sit in the booth, because I think it's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be an easy year for him, but he's got some personnel that is very dependable, it seems like. So, that'll be fun to watch. As we get into the schedule, again, 17 games, first time ever. A lot has been made about Mike Tomlin has never been the head coach of a losing team. It's always been 8-8 or better. And so, as we look down this team, I think this division, the AFC North, is one of the best divisions, if not the best division in football right now. You have the Browns, who are on the rise. Maybe, they still have a lot to prove, though. This could be a year where they kind of slump. It's hard to tell. But they're not the doormat Browns that we've known for so long. The Ravens, they're always going to be in the thick of things. Even in the years that they've not been very good, they always play us really well. And then the Bengals, I think the Bengals can only be better than they were last year. I think the Bengals, more than anything, the reason why they finished how they did was because of the strength of the division. I think the Bengals are going to be better this coming year, and because of that, it's going to be a tough year. I think the Steelers have the ability to go at least 500, 3-3 in the division. So let's put it at about 3-3. And then if we look at the rest of the games, week 1 and week 2 at Buffalo, and then at home against the Raiders. The Raiders. The Bills. Starting out the season after the year the Bills had, opening the season at Buffalo is going to be a tough task. I'm not sure that we're going to be. I'm not sure that we're going to do that. I think it's very possible we'll split those first 2 games 1-1. And then after we play the Bengals at home, we go to Lambeau Field, play Aaron Rodgers, who's also in the twilight of his career, followed by 2 games at home against the Broncos and then the Seattle Seahawks. If we look at those games right there, after the Bengals, you go at Green Bay and then at home against Denver and Seattle. I think that's a good chance that we'll be 2-1 with those 3 games. Then we got a bye in week 7 if all goes as planned. You remember last year, and then we go to Cleveland right after that on Halloween. That'll be an interesting game. You know, they're going to be fired up. And then we got 2 games at home right after that against the Bears, and then the Detroit Lions are back in town for the regular season. You know, that'll be interesting. You know, the Bears game's Monday night. Historically we play really well at home on Monday night. So I think those 3, you know, we've talked about the division games. I think Bears and Lions at home, I think we have a good chance to at least split those games, if not go 2-0. But after that Lions game, we go out to the West Coast for a Sunday night game against the Chargers. We don't play well on the West Coast. We just don't. I don't think we're going to win. I just don't know that we're going to win that game. Then we got 2 division games in a row. We go to Cincinnati at the end of September, or at the end of November. December 5th, we're at home against the Ravens. And then we go at Minnesota. Then we're home against the Titans. You know, after those 2 division games, we at Minnesota and then home against the Titans, I think, again, that's another place where we can go 2-0 or 1-1, split those games. You know, the day after Christmas, we're going to Kansas City. That's going to be a tall task. And then right after that, to end the season, we're at home against the Browns, and then we're on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. You know, if we look at those games, I think it's very possible that, you know, it's very possible that we'll go 8-9, 9-8. A lot of those games are against some marginal teams. There's a lot of winnable games in there. There's a lot of games in there that are just that's going to be a tall order. I think my official prediction is 8-9 for this team. I think this is a team that is going to be making some decisions very soon in the future. And we'll see where that takes this team for the years to come. I think this team is capable of winning 10 or 11 games. I do. But what it all comes down to is the question marks on the offensive and the defensive line. And then that secondary, those corners that are just really, for me, are a big question mark. I think that this team, especially if they don't get to the quarterback, I think it's going to be a tough year. So I think 8-9 is where we'll end up. I totally think it's possible we could do better than that, but I think that's about the range. 7 to 9 wins is where we're going to end up this year. I don't think this is a Super Bowl team. I think this team, if they really commit to the run game and they're serious about it, and they find a way to be able to beat opponents with with the run and the throw, I think they have a chance to really be a special team. But we've heard that speech about the run game every offseason for the last 10 years, and it kind of remains to be seen. So I guess we'll see about that. Hey, that's why they play the game. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they win 17 games, go to the Super Bowl. But 8-9, that's my prediction, and here we go, Steelers.